Hey everyone, my name is Stacie. I'm Stacie Ant, and I'm one of the 3D digital designers in Helsinki Fashion Week. So hello, and I'll tell you a little bit about my background and I guess how I got involved with Helsinki Fashion Week. I actually have a background in fine art, so I studied kind of video editing and performance art and stuff that's completely unrelated to fashion actually. But after graduating, I got interested in 3D animation because I really wanted to kind of create my own worlds and have my own landscapes and create my own actors instead of chasing after my friends and begging them to stand in front of a green screen. That's sort of what motivated me to even start making 3D at all. And then after many long hours of watching YouTube tutorials, I kind of got a hang of things. And then I was really focused on creating characters. To me, like everything that I do is about the person. Like it's about like the character, the personality. It's less about like the landscape and atmosphere, more about the actual identity of everyone I create. So I think that was kind of one of the things that made me want to pursue digital fashion as well. After doing kind of animations and working with a lot of record labels and musicians who wanted to recreate themselves in 3D, I decided that I really wanted to kind of pursue fashion. I got in touch with Helsinki Fashion Week and they invited me to participate in this, which was really awesome. It finally motivated me to sit down and commit to what I wanted to do for a long time. It was really great to, sort of have a deadline and work on a project that was kind of not just me, but a collaboration with something bigger, like an organization that was bigger. So that's how I got started with them. And perhaps I could tell you a bit about the project that I did for Helsinki Fashion Week. I don't know if you maybe caught the last live stream that I did with Patrick, who's an amazing in real IRL designer. So we collaborated on a look together and we talked about it during the last live stream. And it was really cool working with a designer who actually works with fabrics and thinks about, you know, how it fits the model as opposed to a 3D avatar. So we kind of discussed that last time. And then after that, I was asked to create my own look, which was also super exciting, but maybe a little bit more scary because I don't sew in real life and I don't make actual clothes, like only 3D clothes that might not work in real life. Um, that was really cool. And Helsinki Fashion Week really focuses on the environment and climate change, and they really, other than just, you know, inspiring fashion, they also want to raise awareness about climate change. So that something that we were asked to keep in mind when we were creating our own look. So my look, it hasn't been released yet, so I'm not sure how much I should be talking about it, but my look was kind of inspired by the issue of oil spills. And I don't have to tell you too much about that. It's pretty self-explanatory why it's bad, but one of the reasons I wanted to focus on oil spills is because other than the political reasons, and I know it's terrible for the environment, but oil has a really interesting look when it's spilled in water. It has a sort of a natural iridescent look that you don't really see in nature much. And Actually, in a lot of my personal work, I really like to incorporate iridescent and metallic colors, and sometimes I even like to use video as a fabric for an outfit, which is something I don't think you can do in real life just yet. That's why that was the inspiration behind my garment. So I wanted to create something really kind of glamorous and over the top and opulent looking, but at the same time, a little bit dark. The character that I created for this project is a bit of like a glamorous villain in some ways, who's wearing a very kind of iridescent, dark, oil-spilled gown that I was really into, despite the the inspirations of it being kind of an evil, but I think it just looked so beautiful at the same time. And my inspiration for the video for it was, so growing up in the 90s, I watched a lot of commercials. I was really obsessed with commercials growing up, especially with Shop TV. I don't know why. Like, I would watch cartoons, and then half the time I would just watch Shop TV because I was so into just commercials, I guess. And I also grew up in Eastern Europe. I'm originally from Moscow. So I remember in the 90s, they would show, you know, like a Pepsi commercial with Cindy Crawford. And to me, that was a huge moment because, first of all, like, America seemed like this whole, you know, other, something that is kind of unattainable. So when you see these kind of American, over-the-top commercials for American brands, it just really kind of lit up this strange curiosity in me. I'm like, wow, like, who are these people? How come, you know, it's just a perfume commercial, but it's so dramatic. It's like an Oscar-winning art film that's black and white, and it has a woman going down the stairs in some ridiculous gown, and then she whispers something in the camera, and she's holding up some sort of a perfume bottle. So it really stuck with me, and I wanted to incorporate that for my sort of garment commercial that I did for Helsinki Fashion Week. So a lot of the time when I create my own garments or my own scenes, I'd like to kind of build characters who may or may not look like existing celebrities, especially 90s supermodels, particularly for this reason. So, I mean, I'm not going to use names, because in case for some crazy reason they find out and they're like, I don't remember giving you permission to recreate me and use me to advertise your own clothing. So, but let's just say so a lot of the models that you might see in my work are kind of inspired by existing people. So this is no exception for my Helsinki Fashion Week video, and I just really wanted to kind of live out this fantasy where I'm some, you know, big shot designer and perfume maker from the 90s who can afford to cast this $1 million supermodel to wear my ridiculous gown and like roll around and spill oil and just look so fabulous. So that's kind of the inspiration behind this entire project. And I wonder what else I can tell you about myself. Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the Twitch chat. It would be nice to, you know, see what your thoughts are on all of this. And I suppose I could talk a little bit about my personal work. I was asked by Helsinki Fashion Week to mention something about just what I do normally, like, outside of this project. And yes, as I already mentioned, I do a lot of music videos, and I do sometimes I work with fashion labels, but the majority of my work is working with the kind of music industry, so that's been really fun. And I do a lot of personal work on the side, such as gallery work or some installations, and then other times I just make stuff just for me. I'm like, I don't care if people don't like this, but I just have to make it. So one of the videos that the Helsinki Fashion Week team particularly enjoyed that they asked me to talk about was my recent animation called Salad Eating Bitches, pardon the language, but it's basically like a 1.5 minute long animation about these 3 characters who meet at Starbucks, and they're just wearing kind of really ridiculous, over-the-top designer clothing and trying to sort of outshine each other, and then they're just having 3 completely different conversations when they're kind of just not paying attention to each other and just saying kind of things that you might overhear people talk about and be like, wow, am I living in the film Clueless? Which is something I experience quite a bit, even though I live in Berlin and people here speak German, so the culture doesn't quite carry over as well, but there's still a lot of sort of expats who come here from America, and then they still kind of sit in a coffee shop with their MacBooks, and then they're talking about these things. And sometimes, as creepy as it might sound, I like to eavesdrop or people watch and kind of paint a picture of how I see other people in a bit of an abstract way. So I think that that's the explanation for that particular art piece. And yeah, I think that's sort of what a lot of my work deals with. It's sort of drawing a bit of a caricature of people, of different types of people that you might encounter, but I like to think of it as kind of subtle and a bit humorous and kind of lighthearted, but at the same time, maybe makes you sort of question certain things or pay attention to things in a way that you may not have done in the past. So that's, I guess, my favorite work of mine. And my other favorite work is, it's from last year, but it kind of has a similar scenario where it's two people who run into each other at Starbucks while they're ordering pumpkin spice latte. They have this sort of a nonsensical Valley Girl conversation that maybe you can kind of hear parts of it, but parts of it, they just don't even make sense anymore. And it starts to seem a little bit alien. And that's kind of what I really love. I think that's why I even got into art in the first place. It's because I wanted to just take inside jokes that I have with my friends and then actually try to pass them off as fine art and see how far I can take it. And apparently it's worked out because that's my career now. So thank you for that. And yeah, that's, I guess, sort of what I do. And in terms of my goals as a designer, I really am interested in that, and I think that fashion is art in many ways, and I think that fashion can also carry the themes that I explore in my work as an artist, especially I don't know, maybe something like the way you wear something or the amount of layering that you do or the character that you put the clothing on. I think all of that really affects the way that a piece is read. And I really enjoy when fashion is made to be a bit theatrical because it's not just a garment that you wear, it has a whole atmosphere behind it, and you can really see the designer's vision. And a lot of the time it's like, wow, like it's a whole atmosphere, it's a whole world, and this garment is just a piece of this overall world that I want to be a part of. Oh, awesome, I got a question. What are your future projects? So my future projects are, at the moment I'm working on several music videos, which is great. And one of the music videos that I'm super excited about is with one of my very favorite DJs and musicians, DJ Hell. So I'm really excited for this music video to come out, and I'm really focused. I don't want to talk about it too much because I don't want to have any spoilers, but we're doing something very different, and this particular video is going to be very fashion driven, which, I mean, a lot of my videos are, I think, about fashion and styling, but this particular video is very much like it's focused more on the actual fashion side and the aesthetics rather than the story. The story is simply implied, so I'm really, really excited to see how our collaboration will turn out. Then other than that, I'm also working on face filters. So that has been a very exciting side project for me. At the moment, I'm just learning about it, and I want to, so the reason why I'm really excited to work with face filters is because I like to sort of, I really am interested in making art more accessible. So I'm really interested in making artwork that would be engaging for people, that people can access, that they can interact with, that they can incorporate into their own world. So I think that face filters, like, I think that they really can be art. Sometimes face filters, like, it's just funny. Like, oh, look at that, I have a little mustache, that's funny, I'll send my friends a selfie. But what I would really like to do is create a face filter that is maybe, like, in some ways a little bit more conceptual. I mean, not over the top, you know, like a white wall gallery conceptual, but something that takes a piece of my personal artwork and puts it into the user's world and to see how they interact with it. And currently I'm working on a face filter that that's actually based off of an artwork that I did recently. I don't want to reveal too much about it because I'm really excited to kind of release this as this new exciting thing. But to me, it's so amazing to see people take the artwork that I created and do something with it, because I want to see it evolved. I want to see it in the hands of other people. And because I have a background in fine art, so by that I mean, like, I went to what you would traditionally call an art school and have a Bachelor of Fine Art, and my university experience was very much, you know, having like student critiques and having to go to the AGO, the Art Gallery of Ontario, which is where I'm originally from, and visiting galleries and thinking about things like that, which I think are very important. But at the same time, like, I'm a little bit conflicted with my views about the fine art world, because I think that it's a little bit elitist and it's very inaccessible to people. And I think that a lot of artists, and if that's their thing, that's fine. But I think that a lot of artists who are in that world, when they're creating their work, they're thinking about, oh, like, which older white collector is going to buy this and put it in their basement because they're hoping to sell this piece of work later. It's almost like stocks. And for me, I think that, I mean, you do what you got to do, but personally, I really don't like that model. I think that, you know, like, I don't want to create work that's going to be bought by one person and put aside in case it's going up in value. I want my work to be seen by people. I want people to interact with it. Like, I want it to see it circulate the world in some way, even if it's just through Instagram. So that's why I wanted to become a digital artist, because I really want to see that happen with my personal work. So to me, face filters are a really exciting next step. So that's something you can look out for in the future. And other than that, I have some plans, some traveling plans, and I do still do exhibitions, don't get me wrong. And I'm really excited to say that I will be going to Iceland in a few days to take part in an outdoor festival that's happening, where I will have some videos screened. So that's really exciting for me to, oh, I have another question. Will you ever make your own Stacie Ant style and clothes or merch? Yes. Okay, I'm trying to figure out exactly what this question means. Will I make my own, oh, like my own clothing? That's a great question. You know what? I haven't made too much merch in the past because I don't know why, really. I don't really have a reason. I mean, I have some prints that you can get on my website, but that's really just a small side thing for some people who might want that. That's not really a big part of my overall work. But I did make a garment once. I did it a few months ago, but it was a very limited edition Everpress campaign, because I was trying to raise money for Australian wildlife during the forest fires that were happening not too long ago. And I just wanted to see how that would go over, and I'm happy to say that I did move some merch, so it was great, and we raised some money towards Australian wildlife rescue organizations. That was really cool. But other than that, I haven't really made very much of my own merch, but I think that this is a great step in that direction, because even just being a part of Helsinki Fashion Week really kind of validated me as a designer, not just a stylist, because before I kind of thought of myself more as a stylist, like, okay, like, I'm making this video and it takes place in a nightclub and I need to have 10 characters like dancing here, and I have to just kind of throw some stuff on them and make them seem like they fit into like the vibe of this club that I'm recreating, just as an example. So I thought of myself more as a stylist and an art director, but this I really enjoy creating and designing my own garments, like, from scratch, and kind of researching the designers that I just the oh, and also the artists that I like, because for me, like, design and art can very much be together. So Yes, so that's my answer. So stay tuned. Okay, I only have time for one last question. Thank you so much for tuning in and participating. So, what is your website? My website is stacieant.com. Very original, and it's Stacie as Stacie, not EY. So IE and ant like the insect. So that's how you can find me. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. That's all the time we have. Honestly, thank you for tuning in and for your questions. And thank you so much, Helsinki Fashion Week. It's been such a dream to take part in this. Bye, everyone.